Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's do this. How we looking? Everybody happy? Let's talk about balance. So I want to talk to you about the lie of balance. The idea of balance in general is not a lie, but the way that we've been sold it is. So I'm going to tell you why I believe that this idea of work-life balance or balance in any other areas of life has created more discontent and more dissatisfaction than good. And I'm also going to talk about how we could look at this idea of balance in a way that's actually useful, effective, and most importantly, obtainable. I'm going to tell you exactly how I implement this type of balance into my daily practice so that you can as well if you want to. But first, a story about how I became a terrible father and husband. I started a video production company in 2010. We, meaning my partner and I, worked our asses off to grow this thing as quickly as we possibly can. Very, very quickly, we saw success. We started doing video production for really big brands like Volkswagen, Target, Pixar Animation Studios. We designed and built our very own video production studio where we had editors and cinematographers. We had a sound stage. We were recognized in the industry for our work and for our presence and for the innovation that we had created. We were speaking from stages. We had a school called Cine School where we would teach other video production companies how to be successful in video production. On paper, for that moment in time, we were very successful. But that success, as it often does, came with a very high price that I paid. We were on location more than 3/4 of the year. That meant traveling. So not only were we on location, but we had travel days. And when we weren't traveling or when we weren't gone, we were in the studio working to keep up with the projects that we had contracted. Although I didn't know it at the time, I was lying to myself. I was telling myself and my family that I was doing all of this for them. But really it was a giant ego stroke. I felt successful and recognized, and I felt like my hard work was paying off, that we created this thing. But in all of the glitz and glam of success and being recognized, I missed birthdays, I missed anniversaries, I missed school events and sporting events. And when I was home, I was absent because I was stressed and worried about everything that we had going on at work. What's craziest about this experience is that the whole time I felt this immense guilt and shame about the balance that I was supposed to have. But I made it the fault of my partners or my clients or my obligations at work that I didn't have this balance that I so badly wanted. And at the moment, that was the truth for me. Like, I really believed my lie. Cue the coach and mentor, Adrian, that changed my life forever. First, he showed me the lie that I was telling myself. That alone was incredibly powerful to start creating something new. Then he challenged me, hey, if this is the life you say you really want, like this balanced life, start creating it. In that time, I was able to transform the way that I related to my business and to my family. But that's another story for another time. What I learned from this experience is that the way that most people think about balance adds more tension to our families and more tension to our business. The way most people think about balance is the imagery that you think of when you think of like a justice scale or a scale that has two sides, a plate on either side. And we're putting things or taking things off to help balance that scale out. And I was looking at my home life and my business life in this way, that I needed to put them on the scale and make them completely equal in order to feel peace in life. The problem with this idea of balance is in the physics of it alone. And the physics translate really nice to the lived experience of it. So when you're using a scale like that, the physics of it is that on both sides, there's weight pulling down on the scale. It's tension. And what you're doing is you're pitting both things against each other so that we can try to make them equal. What happens in this type of model of balance is that both things are fighting for more weight. When I'm on this type of scale, my home life is fighting for my attention and my focus and my time. Same with my work. And I can't satisfy both. And guess what? When they're not equal, we feel shame or guilt because they should be equal. Not to mention, life is dynamic, business is dynamic, families are dynamic, so things are constantly shifting. So you're constantly making adjustments and wondering why you can't balance out your life as if it's this horizon or as if it's this place you're gonna get to. It's an impossible venture and it's a setup for feeling like a failure. But as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a different kind of balance. I call this balance dynamic balance. So I don't know if you were as good at avoiding your chores as a kid as I was, but when I was supposed to be sweeping the kitchen floor, what I was typically doing is I was taking the broomstick, standing it on end on my hand and balancing, trying to see how long I could balance it in the air. Moving my hand to counterweight the head of the broom to keep it up as long as possible. What I discovered in that avoidant activity is that if I watched my hand, the broom would fall every single time. But if I kept my focus on the bristles in the air, my hand would almost move automatically to counter the leaning or the weight of the bristles of the head of the broom in order to keep it up in the air. It wasn't until I experienced the story that I had told you earlier in this video and realized that actually this was the kind of balance that created sustainable results in life. Let me explain to you exactly how I use dynamic balance daily in order to create more peace and success in every area of my life. The first step is to create a very clear aim or vision. When I talk about the broom on my hand and focusing on the head of the broom, the head of the broom represents my vision or my aim in life. What is it that I specifically want? When I think about the story that I shared, what I created was an aim and a vision about how many hours I wanted to work, how many days out of the year I wanted to travel, how much money I wanted to continue to make in the business. I got very clear on how much time I wanted to spend at home and what I wanted my presence to be like at home, what kind of husband I wanted to be, what kind of dad I wanted to be to my kids. I got so specific and granular about the vision, and I put my eyes singularly focused on that vision. Not all the time, I wasn't perfect, but I worked tirelessly daily to keep my eye on that vision and recommit to it. Every time that I misstepped, every time that I failed, I would recommit to it. That's the daily practice of setting a vision and putting your eye on it. Now, when you have your eye on that vision, the second step happens almost automatically. Your decisions and actions, which is the second step to implementing this kind of balance into your life on a daily basis, almost happens automatically because you're looking at the vision, and each decision or each action tells you whether you're getting closer to the vision or further away. So I start to observe my actions and my decisions and evaluate, did this get me closer to that thing or did it take me farther away? Did it get me closer to the time and presence I want with my family? Or did it take me further away? Did it get me closer to the revenue and the type of clients I want to be working with and the amount of days I want to travel? Or did it get me further away? And I'm taking the feedback and I'm making new decisions every single day and taking new action every single day in my life. Step number 3 was integration. Rather than looking at my life like separate areas, like work is over here in a box, family's over here in a box, hobbies over here in a box. I worked to integrate them, and I still do this to this day. A great example of this integration, I'm not perfect at it, but I'm practicing it, which is if I have an email or a text that I want to answer while it's family time, while my focus and attention is with family, I will ask my family, talk to them, let them know what's going on for me at work. Hey, I've got this client, they're asking for this thing. I'd really like to answer them now. Do you guys mind if I just step away for a couple minutes, give them an answer, and then I'll be right back and present with you? I do the exact same thing with my clients. When I'm going on vacation or something comes up, a family emergency where my family needs my focus and attention, I will let my clients know, hey, I'm shifting my focus over here now. Here's the impact it might have on our work together. I just wanted to let you know, keep you in the loop, and make sure you understand that I'm a holistic person, taking care of both you and my family at the same time. This integration has been so crucial for me to live what feels like a balanced life. Step number 4, and I already mentioned this when I talked about vision, is my commitment. What am I committed to? And re-upping my commitment on a daily basis. Where did I win? Where did I miss it? And being willing to recommit to the thing that I say that I want. Because this is a living, breathing thing. As I mentioned earlier, life shifts, work shifts. Also, we make mistakes. So are you willing to get back up again and recommit? Create the balance that you say you want. Well, my friends, I hope this has been helpful for you as you start to commit to dynamic balance rather than this idea of static or tension-based balance. So much possibility, so much space is gonna open up for you for focus, attention, and energy. And most likely, being the hard driving person that you are, you're gonna wanna start something new. So go ahead and click on the video where I talk about how I start something new way before I think I'm ready. Peace.